Good afternoon, everyone. I'm just going to plug in here. I can see somebody's panicking behind the scenes going, where's his presentation? I've got an iPad. So, okay, how are we going there? Wonderful. It's always a lump in the throat. So I'm going to talk to you today about one of the most exciting gold discoveries in the world, and I'll literally be able to demonstrate that to you in the 10 minutes, I trust. It's just down in Victoria. It's called Sunday Creek. We've been listed for about 2.5 years. Just run through the disclaimer. So what really matters here is that it's a very high-grade project, and I'll show you that. We're only about 3% of the way into the discovery. We've got a 10-kilometre footprint. We put 60 kilometres of drilling into this asset, 63 kilometres over the last few years. We've got another 60 coming over the next year. So we're drill, and that's how you make discoveries. Now, why do I claim this is one of the better gold discoveries on Earth at the moment? If you look at the hit rate, so let's take the 100-gram metre hit rate, the number of grams times the number of metres. Barry, it's a good stat. You love it. And then divide it by the number of metres drilled and how many of those hits. This, I cannot find anything better globally at the moment, and please come and see me if you can. We're hitting a 100-gram metre hit every 1,500 metres, and with lots of drilling, they're all starting to stack together. I'll show you the scale. It's growing all the time. We've drilled over 1.3 down to 1.3 kilometres down to 1 kilometre. So lots of drilling to come. We've got cash. We've got over 30 million now in the bank. It's a little complicated there, but take the numbers simply. We've got 133 hectares we own today. We've got another 900 hectares that we're closing on in the next month. So we've got over, well and truly over 1,000 hectares of private land, which is very important when you're exploring in these areas. We can literally explore and future development be kilometres away from anybody, which is really important. Here's the market cap, around about the 600 odd million, very well held institutionally. There's been a lot of institutions buying into this stock over the last year. This 48% is really a critical point. Let's have a look at that. We're going through a merge with that 48% holder, which is Mawson Gold out of Canada. It's a company I co-founded. I'm on both sides of the transaction, so hopelessly conflicted, but we spun these assets out of Mawson a couple of years ago, and the idea was to always distribute that stock to Mawson holders. Because of the share price increase, we had to become a little inventive around how to merge the two companies, to consolidate that ownership, and that's through a scheme which is the most tax-effective method. I joke that high grade is king to most of us, and it is to us, but also creates tax issues you need to be creative around to work out the best outcome for shareholders. And this stock will be dual listed on the TSXV as well as the ASX. This will happen by the end of the year, around mid-December. So for Australian-based shareholders, it will be the same for you. One day you'll hold an SXG share, the next day you'll hold a CDI backed by Mawson. It will be called Southern Cross Gold. It will be the Southern Cross Gold board and management. So it will look and smell very similar to what you know today, but we'll simplify that ownership structure, which will bring a lot more eyes to the stock. We know there's a lot of institutions waiting for that to happen. In terms of the numbers here, if you can't see them, these are the top 10 intersections. There's some crazy high grades in this deposit. Many of them, they're graphed on the right-hand side. If you look at here, the grade versus the width, and anything above that yellow line is a 100-gram metre hit. You can see that they form very nice widths, as well as very high grades. Some are greater than 1,000-gram metre hits are not unique to this deposit also. Most of these hits have come, we're about at hole 138 now. I think the lowest number there is 177. So 77, I should say. So most of the good hits have come within the last year, if not the last 6 months. So we're getting better at what we do. We're understanding this deposit, collecting more data, and these systems invariably get better at depth. These Victorian systems like Fosterville, like Costerfield, there's a transition geologically, which is really magic. It's only been known really commercially for the last 8 years. Fosterville was the highest grade gold mine on Earth, and we've stood on the shoulders of giants on that understanding. So it's a very, very different outcome to what Victoria's been known for. And here you can see the location of the project. We're about 60 kilometres north of Melbourne. So it will be a different way to reimagine how a mine is actually operated and run. We've got 6 quarries, including a 5 kilometre long quarry on our permit. So waste rock will not be waste rock in our case for the most part, and it's only waste rock because it's in the middle of nowhere genuinely, and Melbourne and Victoria is requiring a lot of that just rock, let alone the rock that we want with gold and antimony, I should say. I missed on that last slide. 20% is an antimony byproduct here, which is a very key part of this story. So the antimony, we say, will help permit it. The gold will pay for it in simple terms. If we just look into the project, let's go underground. There's a key point here is it's a big system. It's over 12 kilometres, very similar footprint to Fosterville. Here's where we put that 60 kilometres of drilling into the ground over the last year or so. We put a few thousand metres out into the regional trend. There's historic mines along that regional trend. That same structure that hosts our mineralisation extends through there. And Andrew, who was just on before, is subsidising his exploration by running IP surveys for us for many months. We're employing Andrew. He does a great job. Big plug for Fender. Out through here, a 3-month survey. So we're not forgetting about our exploration upside. We've got 5 rigs in here, and a 6th rig will come into this regional area once Andrew's been able to finish that IP. Let's look at that main core trend, and we're going to go underground. So here is the geology and the rocks under there, but we're just looking down on a bird's eye view here. This mineralisation is very simple. It's a structure that's a couple of 100 metres wide. That's what extends for the 10 kilometres along strike. And then it's created a very brittle host rock, that structure. It's got a dike in the middle of it. It's very altered sediments. And then we've got these, what we say are like the rungs of the ladder. So the sides of the ladder are blue, the rungs of the ladder are red. We've got more than 60 of these rungs, which are the vein sets. They're 2.5 to 3.5 metres wide on average, but they can get up to 10 metres. You saw that in the drill data before. They start at surface and extend down to past a kilometre. More than 60 of them, very low CV. They form very coherent bodies. They were mined for 50 years by the old timers, so that helps us inform us also. So if we just go underground, there's the dike. The numbers are here. They're very high grades. You can see 10 ounces, 300 grams in red, greater than 10 grams in green, basically. So lots of very high grades. Let's just strip off the geology. You can see some of the old mines here, down to about 180 metres, 100 here and 100 here. The very highest grades you see, plus 300 grams, predominantly form about 300 or 400 metres below surface, where we've got lots of focus through here. So the grades are good at the surface, but they certainly get better when you go into that brittle ductile transition. What we've got here is, back in January, we put an exploration target with 40 kilometres of drilling into that red area. It was between 1 to 1.6 million ounces at 7 to 10 grams gold equivalent, basically. Now we've got lots of hits. Here's a hit from yesterday. 1.4 metres at 250 grams. We've got lots of hits coming in under here now, under this old mine. A hit down here, there's 3.6 at 124, a 500 metre step out here. And if we look to the blue and where we're going with this 60 kilometres of drilling, our aim is to get to that 3 million ounces. You're not going to see us put out a resource quickly on this project over the next 6 to 10 months. We're drilling to expand this system and make it very significant. And if we can get to the 3 million ounces towards that upper end of the grade range, 10 grams, then we've got a very, very special project on our hands, notwithstanding that it is already, but that's the strategy. Here we are. This is the lay of the land. All this ground here is what we own, the over 1,000 hectares. There's where we put the 60 kilometres of drilling, and when you even look to the north of the project, there's only a dozen houses within 2 kilometres. So relatively unpopulated, which is a really key part to this story. With very short time left, I'll just talk to the metallurgy just very quickly. A standard flow sheet that Costerfield down the road uses. It's gravity plus a flotation for gold and antimony. Victoria is open for business. There was a tailings dam approved in a fast-track legislation at Costerfield only over the last few months, 5 months to permit that. They've got a mandate to permit 1 mine per year in Victoria, at least. So we've got great people. Many of them are in the crowd. My time is almost up. This is a fantastic project. You're not going to see many drill results like this globally. We've done the tick boxes on the Met, a lot more mining, environmental work, a hell of a lot of social work, and a very strong shareholder base. So keep your eyes on it. We're very early into this discovery. Thank you very much.